is going on, everybody? We are back with another stream today. Hope everybody's Wednesday's treating them well today. And yeah, let's talk about last night. Went light last night, sort of kind of going light again tonight, sort of kind of probably going to go on ahead and just do a few picks per college and NBA moving forward, because I got a little carried away over the weekend, like Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I got a little bit carried away with my picks, having a plethora of picks when betting in these betting streets. So, gonna be looking to possibly just have maybe around 8 to 10 picks moving forward for now, and then hopefully the hope is that come next NBA and college season, bump those up to maybe 12 to 14 picks a night. It just depends. Still may stick around 10 and under, but needless to say, let's dive into the recap for today. As I always say, continue to try to say, whether on the video, whether on live streams, please, if you feel comfortable, go and follow me over on Twitter if my laptop will pull it up. There we go. Over on Twitter at Vortex46 for all of my picks for NBA, NCAA. Like I mentioned in the past, I'm going to be hopeful to see if I can do some things on for the MLB this season coming. I pretty much sucked in MLB. I won a little bit, but not all the time. I was losing a lot last season, still trying to figure some things out. But definitely follow me over on Twitter at Vortex46. But also too, if you don't have Pickett, this little app right here on your phone, I want to say you can get this on an iPhone. I have Android, Team Android all day. They follow your picks. It's a free app. They do have a subscription, but I'm not subscribing to it. This is more beneficial for me for a free app to follow all of my picks. And this is pretty much the results from last night per everything NBA and college. I went 4 and 5. I didn't do any parlays. Probably not going to do a parlay tonight. It just depends. We'll see what happens. But these are all of my picks. I went 3 and 2 for college. Let me double check and make sure. Yeah, 3 and 2 for college for the NCAA, and 2 and 2 for the NBA. So I went 1 and 1 for my 2 lock picks last night for the NBA. So I'll take that one win. But it was a last moment thing. Yesterday's stream, I talked about it. Last minute thing. I decided to put in one more pick. So it definitely worked out where I was above 500. This last pick was for Georgia Tech to cover the spread on the road at Pitt. Pitt is my hometown team. And yeah, as you see, we lost that game 73-76. And also too, let me see if I can. That's it. That's not what I wanted to do. Well, I'll do that for now. We'll just stick to this now. So yeah, per the rest of the ticket here, everything else was, a little bit of, like I said, I lost my team total under for my Memphis Grizzlies. As you see, that game, I think it went into OT. I don't know specifically. I think if I remember correctly, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think that game, one of the main reasons why I went to OT. I'm going on the app called The Score. Definitely download that app. It's called The Score. It gives you all of the sports games and stuff like that, and then like the score, like the actual scores and all of that you see on here. That's what the Score app looks like. But when you look at it, it also gives you the actual quarters and stuff like that here. So yeah, so the third quarter, both teams scored 40 plus points, and looks like my Memphis Grizzlies won the third quarter 43-41, and we actually won the fourth quarter, 36-34. So I'm gonna be looking to do some picks like that for sure. I tried to attempt that about a couple of weeks ago. That one ticket that I had, I think definitely was a parlay. Decided to try something a little different, and it missed by I think like 2. So yeah, I'm gonna be looking to try to do some quarter wins, like spreads and money lines, stuff like that, for the NBA to come soon, and maybe some college stuff. But yeah, this game went into OT, and we even won the OT 14 points to 11 points, 151-48. So ultimately, that third quarter, I think, is the one that really hit it home as far as the Grizzlies not going under 128 points. As you see, it was 151-148. So that was that. Houston, I thought that Houston could possibly go and score 114 points against Milwaukee, but the stats were, that's the thing when it's pertaining to this betting scene. Stat wise, some stats look really great, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna tell the stats, and then the other times you're like, you know what, I'm gonna fade the stats. So last night, something was telling me, like I even posted on my Twitter, like saying like the stats was making me feel like my really for it was my gut feeling saying I should have faded Houston on their team total points, but I was like, I'm just gonna go on ahead and take the chance that they'll go out here and score 114 points against Milwaukee. But as you see, they won by 3 points, 100 points to 97. So if you faded to Milwaukee on their team total points, or Minnesota, or the Rockets, or even faded the whole entire total, you cashed. So, but my lock pick that did cash was Bonchero to go over his to score 23 points against the Cavaliers. That one just seemed like to me for a no-brainer, more so in the last 5 games, because he was averaging like 27 points. Head-to-head matchup, he was averaging, I think, around like 22, something like that, against Cleveland as a total. Maybe more than that. It may have been 25, but either way, I'm glad that I picked that. He finished with 26. And the other lock pick was for Boston, the total for Boston at Toronto. That went under. I thought that both teams could really score, but it seemed like it was probably more than likely a thing of both teams were just struggling to score. Maybe a little bit defense played in that role. I do have a pick for Boston at Detroit today, so we'll talk about that pick in a little bit here. But that score finalized with 212. And the other win that I had was the Florida Gators at my Georgia Bulldogs. I am really excited about this pick because I put this in. It felt really good. My gut was telling me to take the over. I wasn't sure about that was the other thing, like I was talking about a minute ago, about you're feeling like sometimes you feel like you need to fade the stats per the stats for the Gators Bulldogs. When it's pertaining to the spread, the stats everybody was leaning towards the Gators to pretty much come into Georgia and win this game last night. But something was telling me that I should have taken the spread last night as well, and I did not. But like I said, my gut feeling was telling me to at least take the over, and it worked out. Not only did the over hit, went past that 150, was total 171 points, and we won 88-83. I'm really glad that we got this tremendous upset win at home. This was great, especially like I said, that at the half it was 50. I think we were up 51-38 if I remember correctly. I did post about it on my Twitter too, but yeah. Let me see. I thought I did. Just double. Yeah, right here. Yeah, 51-35. We were up by 16 points. So I was just like, I took this pick. Look where it's at. It's looking really, really great right now. Like really, really great. But then again, this depended on what happened in the second half. But in the second half, went the exact route that it needed to go. And yeah, 171 points. I'll take that. So yeah. But the other losses, of course, for college, I took the under for Duke at Miami, Florida, at the Gators. That didn't cash. I mean, excuse me, not the Gators, but the Hurricanes. Miami Hurricanes. That didn't cash. 97-60. It went over by 6 points. It was supposed to be under 152, and they went over by 6. So it is what it is. You know, I kind of had the feeling that Duke was going to score high, and I kind of had the feeling that Miami was going to at least maybe score 70 points. I mean, excuse me, um, you know, around the 60, a little bit above, but not too much. Like I said, I kind of felt like Duke was going to score like maybe 85, and Miami the Hurricanes were going to score like 62 or something. You know, something around that number, and it would have been under the 150. That's what I was thinking, but didn't happen. That didn't work out. The other pick that did hit was the Marquette spread. I took the spread minus 12.5. Feeling a little bit more comfortable about some of these spreads that I decided to take more often for college now, over the last like 48 plus hours now. But Providence, it was like sort of like a no-brainer because Providence had been covering the spreads lately, but per Marquette and what they were doing lately, I just kind of felt like this was a spot here that they could have, you know, still won by 13 plus points, and that's exactly what happened. They won, what was it, 30 by 30, so 82-52. So I'll take that as a win. And the other loss was another spread. I sort of kind of felt a little bit good about this pick. I like going against the grain. That's what I'm doing today too with a spread pick for college. I like to go against the grain. I like to take the chances. Some of my spread picks aren't hitting as often, but they're, you know, sometimes are close, sometimes aren't. But I decided to go with old Dominion on the spread at plus 10.5 because more lately they have been covering while Marshall haven't been covering at home. But you know, it just all depends on what happened in this game. I really didn't get a chance to see anything as far as the first and second half points wise, score wise. But as we see, you know, Old Dominion lost by was it 16, I think, looks like. So let me just kind of jump in here real quick and see specifically what this game did last night, if I can find the game. So yeah, basically the first half it was close. Marshall won 39-38. So that I can say that it was technically the first half was the right move. Technically, I should have taken Old Dominion at the first half to win this, to cover the spread at least. But it is what it is. It's just the second half, 44-28. That's, you know, Marshall deciding to really just like ramp it up on their offense and you know, a little bit shutting Old Dominion down a little bit on defense. So that's that, and that's pretty much all the picks. Let's dive into. I have 4 NBA picks and 4 college picks for today. Let's dive into the NBA picks real quick before I dive into. So I'm gonna go over my 2 lock picks here. Let me. There we go. Come out of there. So, 2 lock picks. So the first one coming up is actually the Pistons at Detroit. I decided to go with the team total points. I still really have a lot of fun with taking Detroit's team total points. I grabbed what is this, over on BetMGM minus 145. I decided to juice it up 109 for them to go over their team total points at 109. BetMGM, as you see, it went up 5 points, 150. As you see here, this is a beautiful site here. They've literally only gone under this number once, and that was literally just last night. Excuse me, two nights ago at home against the Clippers. I'm deciding to basically test Boston's defense here. Boston is allowing 108 points, just shy of 109 for overall. Well, a few points shy of 109, but 108 points per game. Last 10 games, you see Detroit's averaging 125 points, 124.8. In the last 5 games, 128 points over the last 5. Head-to-head matchup, though, Detroit is actually averaging 109 points on the nose. So it's just a point and a half shy of the number that we want them to get, and that's 110. So yeah, when you really look at this, they've gone over this number 3 for 3 over the last six meetings against Boston. But this is the first lock pick that I decided to grab, um, and just see if Detroit can continue, because again, they've literally, as we've seen, they've literally gone over this number. 9 out of the last 10 games. Literally, they're 9-1. So I just have that feeling that at home they're at least going to get this 110 points. Will they win the game? That's the question at hand. That is the key question. We look at the injury report for the game. Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Cornette, and Porzingis are all game time decision. While for Detroit, Fontecchio is the only one that's really game time decision that gets a lot of minutes. And Jaden Ivey, of course, is still out with that lower leg surgery and stuff. So not sure when specifically he'll be back. But that's the first lock pick. Second lock pick that I decided to go with is this one is the Blazers at Washington. This one I was really up in the air whether I wanted to take the under for the total or the spread, and I decided to go with the under for the total. This is why I decided why I was thinking about the spread itself. I was really leaning towards Washington to cover the spread, maybe more than likely in a loss. But as you see, the last 10 games, they're 6-4 over the last 10 games. In the last 5 games, they are again 6-4. They've covered 3 out of the last 5 games. Excuse me. Let me go back. Home. There we go. 3-2. 3 straight games that they've covered over the last 5 games. While Portland has struggled to cover at all. I think they've covered like 2 or 3 games. Let me just look at this. Again, they're 0-5 over their last 5 games, but they're 3-7 to the number over the last 10. So I just said, let me stay off of the number itself, because we really don't know what's going to happen tonight. But instead, I decided to go with the under, and it actually dipped up one. I grabbed it at over on FanDuel at -108, 230 and a half for to go under 231. The only thing about that is that this specific number, whenever I tried to tail it or even fade it, it's like a 50-50 for me for the -108. I don't have a positive win. It's more like I said, it's more like a 500 win right now. I think I'm like 2-2 or 3-3 when it's pertaining to taking -108, like -106, 102, 104, 105, stuff like that. I'm like, it just depends on the number. I'm like either up or I'm down. Like this -108, I think I'm like 2-2 if I remember. I think I only did it 4 times. So tonight maybe just over the 500 or under the 500. But this is the reason why I took this number. Mainly more so for the most recent games. We're looking at Portland out away. The under has been covered 7 out of the last 10 games. It did go under at Utah most recently 2 days ago. The thing to note about Washington is that because we're looking at the injury report, because Brogdon is out, he brings extra extra whatever that the offense needs. He literally is the reason why some of these games go over the team total. Go over the total, because he's literally an X factor for the squad. So I just have that feeling, because Washington, the last 2 games alone, the total has gone under. We could also look at the head-to-head matchup, and the total at Washington the last game last season, it went under as well. So I'm just kind of having that feeling that and it actually I'm sorry, but the over didn't the under hit here on the road at Portland in the last season as well. So I just, like I said, I just have that feeling. They're 2-0 when it's pertaining to the number going under. in the head-to-head matchup. And then, like I said, the last couple of games for Washington have gone under, while Portland, it just went under recently, but they're 3-2 over the last 5 games. So we'll see what happens with this second lock pick. Third pick is I decided to go with the team total under, and I decided to go with kind of test my Oklahoma City Thunder's defense. We're on the road at Brooklyn. We've had a tough, interesting last few games when it's pertaining to my team here, but I want to see if we can shut down this squad here. The only thing that could possibly cause this to hit above the number, so I grabbed this over on BetMGM, if I remember correctly. Let me make sure. Yeah, so BetMGM minus 145 for them to go under 101 points. Let me get this real quick. Now I dipped up. Actually dipped down one, so it's minus 105 on BetMGM for them to go under 100 points. So I'm kind of glad that I grabbed it when I grabbed it at this specific spot here. So when you look at the last 10 games, they're actually averaging 102 points over the last 10 games, while the last 5 games are actually averaging 100 points, 99.6. They've only gone over this number once over the last 5 games. But my Oklahoma City Thunder are actually averaging 100 and defense are allowing 106 points, 105.7. But we can really break down this spot here. The one thing I was trying to mention was that this here, Cameron is game time decision. I don't know if he's going to play. He hasn't played in a few games, if I remember correctly. So D-Lo is still out as well. So this is the reason why I'm, gonna just go on ahead and test my team's defense to see if we can handle business on the road here. I could have possibly looked into the spread, but when you really look at it, us away, we have allowed every team over the last 5 games to score 100 points on us. So I could have easily taken the over because based off of the information here, because the only game that went under was at Washington for their team total points. They went under. They only scored 95 points in that game back on January 12th. Head-to-head matchup too, when we look at it, at Brooklyn last season they scored 124 points. So I just feel like, and when we look at it, they've always scored 100 points on us. But again, I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna really hope that my Oklahoma City defense can really shut this down. We'll see though. We will see what happens, because again they are struggling to score some. Let me go back. Yeah, they are struggling to score some. Again, they're averaging 102 points, so they're struggling to score some. But again, the last 5 games they've literally averaged 100 points. So we'll see if this little trend continues, and my OKC Thunder can shut them down on their team total points. We'll see what happens with this pick. All right, next up is this one is more of a I said screw it thing. So this pick is, where are we? So it's the Jazz. I decided to take the Jazz on the spread, but I got it at plus 9.5, right? BetMGM. Yeah, so BetMGM minus 106 for them to cover at home against Sacramento. As you see here, at home, they've been covering the spread. They're 7-3 at home against the number, while the Kings on the road are 1-9. Literally, guys, I I really don't know what to say. Man, I really don't know what to say. Truly don't. This team, Sacramento's, they're 29 and 28. Like literally, this team should have been a team that I feel like should have 10 plus more wins for this year, but nope. So this one's going to depend on if Kessler's going to play tonight, because he's game time decision. Markkanen is out. Sexton is out. Collins is out. Again, I was shocked. I think I talked about this last night. I had taken a spread for them to win plus 5.5 2 days ago against at home against Portland, and they covered. Not only did they they covered that number, but they in the loss. But when I look at the team as a whole over the last few games, they are currently 2-5 as far as winning, straight up. So, but Sacramento away, they too have been struggling to win too. I think looks like they're 3-2 over the last 5 games when it's pertaining to winning straight up. So, but again, per the number, they're struggling to cover. So I decided to just say screw it. Let me go with Utah, aka Utah, and let's see what happens with this pick. So yeah, that's what I said. I said screw it. I'm just gonna go on ahead and make the magic happen. So those are the 4 picks for the NBA. 2 locks, 2 picks that are hopeful for today. Now we're gonna dive into our 4 college picks for today. Like I said, more than likely not gonna do a parlay. If I do, it'll probably be like a two pick parlay. Probably something like one player to score 10 points, another player to get 2-3, something like that. Something real simple that hopefully can cash. Maybe I'll do 2 of those, because as I always say, those type of picks are more on the safer side. So this number actually moved up. I grabbed this number. I decided to go with Georgetown to cover the spread at plus 12.5 on the road at UConn. UConn came through for me the last time I picked them. Took their team total points over. I think it was like 67 or 68, something like that, and they scored. I think they scored like 70 plus points that game, so it worked out. In their last game, I think they lost that game. Let me look at this real quickly. Maybe it was the under. I can't remember, but either way, it cashed for me. I just remember that part. So, as you see, UConn is struggling to cover the spread, like literally struggling. Like they haven't covered this number at all, like at all. 10 plus, 5 less, 5 or whatever the number. They've only covered 2 or 3 times over the last 10 games, while Georgetown on the road 10-0, son. 10-0. They have covered. Whether in losses, whether in wins, they are covering the number. So if you started way back here at the bottom on December 6th on the away games alone and worked your way up and took all your wins per each game and just kept putting you with, dude, I'm telling you right now, you would have like over $1,000 in your pocket. This is how you build a bankroll as well. Georgetown is a heavy trend right now. So yeah, it was a no-brainer. I decided to say, let me go on ahead and take Georgetown. Like I mentioned in maybe 3 streams ago, that I get notifications on my phone for Georgetown games, just because at the time, a few years ago, Patrick Ewing was the head coach at the time, former legend, the legendary New York Knicks player from the past, back in the 90s. And I, just wanted to see how he was, coaching the team up and, through wins, through losses and all like that, everything like that. But I still get the notifications in my phone, and every time I've been paying attention this year, Georgetown has been keeping it close for a lot of these games. Like I said, whether they're losing, whether they're winning, they are at least not getting, for the most part, they're not losing by 10 plus points. Even here in these last 10 games, look at this. Last 10 games alone, they've lost by 10 or more. Looks like 2 times. Just 2. That's it. And they've never lost, literally never lost by 13 or 14. Now the number moved up to 14. So I'm kind of mad that I didn't get it at 14, but it's okay. Like I said, bumped up just 2 points. So they are heavily the underdog at plus 800 to UConn's minus 1100. So we'll see what happens with this pick. The only disappointing thing about it is if they lose by, say, by the number, by 14, instead of the 13 points. So we'll see what happens with this pick. We'll see. But that's that one. Next up, I decided to go with the Michigan State game. Where are you, Spartans? I decided to go with the under. I don't know. I think this number didn't move. Or did it move? No, it didn't move. So I got this over on BetMGM. Another Bet365. Decided to go with this one. It's minus 110 for this to go under 150 and a half, for them to go under 51 points. So when we look at this, Michigan State have been covering this under 6 straight games. They've been red hot and playing really, really great defense. While the under has hit 3 straight games at Maryland's home spot. So they're 2 and 3 over the last 5 games here. When we look at the defensive side of Michigan, their defense let me fix this here. Their defense is actually allowing around like 67 points per game currently. Maryland's defense is allowing 67 as well. But per what Michigan State's offense is doing, they're actually scoring 79. So I just kind of have that feeling that, again, the only thing to note is that Maryland, over the last 3 games alone, or technically 4 games, they've gone over 70 points, technically over 75 points 4 straight games. They've gone over 80 3 straight games, and over 90 two games over these last 5 games. So it's going to just depend what's going to happen tonight with this specific number going under the mark. We'll see what happens. Now, again, prior to these last 5 games, the under had been hitting tremendously. So this would have worked out more stat-wise if you were really considering taking the under. But I decided to say screw it, because I'm betting on Michigan to play some really good defense tonight on the road once again, because they did cash for me against let me go back and look at that. They did cash for me on the under against Michigan. That's right, it was Michigan in the last game. I took the under on this one because you see the same number, 151 and a half, and they only scored 137 points. It was great to wake up to that the next morning on the 22nd, just a few days ago, to see that occur and happen. So that was great. So I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can get another win tonight with that one. This one is a spread pick, another spread pick here. Where are you? Originally, I was thinking about doing this game with Radford. Originally, I was looking at I think I was looking at the total, but and the spread. But I was like, I'm not gonna take it, because it just looked, because they're not. That's the thing. The stats, they're really not covering between both teams. So I don't really know what's gonna happen with that game. But I decided to go against the grain once again. Take the underdog to cover the spread, even if they lose. When we look at Bellarmine here away, they've covered 7 out of the last 10 games, or 7-3 to the number over the last 10 games, while Well, Florida Gulf Coast. There we go. Florida Gulf Coast have on their home turf have covered the number 3 out of the last 5 games, but they did not cover the last game at home. So head-to-head matchup. That's what I was going to talk about. Head-to-head matchup. They Bellarmine did cover they didn't cover. No, I'm sorry. They did cover on the road at Florida Gulf last season, where they lost by 9. So, excuse me, by 10. No, wait, what am I saying? 11. So it's saying that they covered even though it was 8.5. Oh, okay. So it dipped. Okay, so it jumped up to 12.5. That's why it happened. Okay. All right. So it must have jumped up to that just before the game started last year. That's why. Cool like Kool-Aid. So this is, like I said, this is the main reason why I decided to go with it. I looked at, what both teams have been doing the last few games as far as their points. And even when you really look at it, the last 2 games on the road, they've held, basically both teams to around 70 points. We can look at Florida Gulf Coast as far as their defense is concerned. They have pretty much allowed 3 teams to score 70 plus points on them. Out of the last 5 games, only 2. What was that? Only no, I'm sorry, I'm reading it wrong. So 2 teams scored 80 plus points or more. 3 teams scored basically 56 points or less against them. So this is going to be something interesting to see with this red pick here, moving forward. Because even with that, the 3 games where the teams scored basically 56 or less, they pretty much won by higher than the number that is currently sitting, which is the 12.5. So we'll see what happens. Maybe they will win by 15 tonight, but my hope is that they, if they do win, that they don't win by 13 points. We'll see what happens with that pick. Next up, I decided to go with Notre Dame. I decided to go against Clemson's defense tonight. So I decided to take the team total points. Notre Dame. What was it again? FanDuel, -114. For them to score 61 points. Here we go. Now I'll dip down to -104, so I'm kind of a little disappointed that I didn't catch this number maybe an hour ago or something like that. But as we look here, last 10 games, Notre Dame are averaging 70 points over the last 10 games and 74 points over the last 5. Clemson's defense is allowing 66 points, 66.5 during these last several games. Head-to-head matchup. Last season they met at home and they scored 69 points, but again, that was last season. Totally different team and stuff like that. So we're gonna see. I feel like they can get these 61 points tonight. When we really look at the team as a whole, plus their offense, they're actually averaging 73 currently, while again Clemson's defense is doing what they're doing. Let's look at this too. Here, Clemson's offense is scoring 78 points, while Notre Dame's defense is allowing 72. So it was really real simple with this one. We can look at it here, but I looked at Clemson's team total points. I really want to try to, maybe possibly fade their team total points. I could have easily possibly taken really more so the over for either one, because they've been pretty much, like, for the most part, scoring some points. Even with the last 10 games, they're averaging 77. Last 5 games, they're averaging 80. So that could have been something that I could have easily taken, because it's 75 -120. This is the sweet spot here compared to the -108 for the 76. So It just, it just depends, because Notre Dame may come in here and shut them down. Maybe possibly an upset. We don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. The 22-5 compared to Notre Dame's 12-5, 12-15 record. So we'll see. Next up, actually, I think that's it. That's everything. I don't think I see anything else on here that I can possibly place. I have 4 picks. I'm kind of feeling, fairly good about all of these picks here. Like I said last night, I should have taken my Georgia Bulldogs spread. I didn't. I went with the over, and that hit more easily. So yeah, I don't really I think a couple of things on here, but I think I'm just gonna stay. If I do decide to do 1 or 2 more picks, they'll be posted on my Twitter account before these games start. But other than that, like I said, for the NBA, I might do 1 or 2 extra picks, which will basically be, like I said, more than likely possibly be a 2-leg parlay. One player to score 10 points, another player to hit 2 threes, and then that will be probably like a plus 100 something type of a pick, and more of a safer pick, and it hopefully should cash. So, but with that, I'm out. Leave some comment section below if you feel it too. After the stream goes up, let's talk about your picks if you feel comfortable with sharing them in the comments below for the NBA and NCAA. We have, I think there's only like 5 NBA games tomorrow. Let me double check that. It's a short slate tomorrow. Yeah, 5 games tomorrow, and NCAA for tomorrow. There is Michigan's playing tomorrow at hosting Rutgers too. It's like I think there's like 53 games tomorrow. The early ones start at 6 o'clock, so we'll see what happens tomorrow as well. There's only like 2 6 o'clock games, a couple of 6:30 games. So yeah, we will see. Maybe one day I'll do a live stream of the college games one day, because I know I've live streamed a few of the NBA games. But with that, I'm out. Stay safe, stay humble, and I will hopefully haul you all with 2-lock video tomorrow, and then live stream tomorrow after work. I'll holler at you later, guys. Roughly around like 5:30.